What if I told you the top 1% haven't relied on 401ks or Roth IRAs to retire? Not in decades. You've been told to max out your 401k, open up a Roth, and ride out the market. But what if the most powerful retirement strategy had nothing to do with stocks? And the IRS quietly lets you grow it 100% tax-free. It's not a Roth, not a 401k, and definitely not some sketchy crypto scheme. It's a strategy used by high earners to build tax-free income, access capital before the age 59 and a half, and shield their legacy from rising taxes with zero exposure to market crashes. Stick around and I'll show you exactly how it works and why most advisors never bring it up. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear, beginner-friendly understanding of how a properly structured Index Universal Life Policy, or IUL, actually works. We'll break down 6 powerful advantages every high-income professional should know: how indexing works, and why IULs can capture market-linked growth with zero exposure to stock market losses; how IULs grow tax-free using IRS Code 7702 to legally eliminate retirement taxes; why there are no RMDs, no income limits, and no early withdrawal penalties, just unrestricted access to your capital; how policy loans work, letting you borrow against your cash value while it keeps compounding like a private tax-free bank; how IUL performance compares to the S&P 500 index over the last 25 years, especially during crashes and volatility; and how it stacks up against 401ks and IRAs with a real case study showing the difference in income, taxes, and legacy. Then I'll show you the real kicker, the number one reason most IULs underperform, and how to design yours the right way, the way the wealthy do. It was October 2008. I logged into my 401k and fell sick. Half of my life savings gone overnight. And I sat there and refreshing the screen, hoping it was some kind of a glitch. But it was just 1 year earlier, things looked perfect. It was 2007. The market was booming. Real estate was unstoppable. My retirement accounts were at all-time highs. And like most 6-figure professionals, I thought I was doing everything right. Maxing out my 401k, fully funding a Roth, buying index fund. I believed in buy and hold. I played by the rules. And so-called experts kept repeating the same line: housing prices never go down. Then the crash came, the market collapsed, and with it, my faith in traditional retirement planning. Because here's what I realized. I'd followed all the advice, but the system wasn't designed to protect people like me. It was designed to extract through hidden fees, rising taxes, and market risk. And that loss was my wake-up call. So I started digging deep. And what I uncovered made me furious. While we were stuck on the market roller coasters, wealthy families weren't even on the ride. They were quietly using a strategy hidden inside IRS Code 7702, one that grows wealth tax-free, protects it from market losses, and lets you access it without penalties or age restrictions. They were building income inside what I now call the wealth bowl, officially known as Index Universal Life, or IUL. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. And that was my epiphany. Wealth isn't just built, it's protected. And the wealthy, they play a completely different game. That discovery changed everything. And it's now my mission to bring that knowledge to professionals like you, the ones who've done everything right, yet still feel financially exposed. Hi, my name is Robert Balgac. I'm the founder and CEO of Black Swan Insurance Group. And since 2017, we've helped over 20,000 families design tax-free retirement strategies that shield their savings from taxes and risks. Legal. We've earned hundreds of 5-star reviews from professionals just like you, people ready to stop playing defense and start building wealth like the top 1%. So what exactly is the Index Universal Life Policy, and how does it actually work? So let's break it down step by step. I'll keep it simple, even if this is your first time hearing the term IUL. Number one, what is an IUL? An IUL, or Index Universal Life Policy, is permanent life insurance with built-in savings account that grows over time. But here's what makes it different. Instead of earning a fixed rate, your cash value is linked to a market index like the S&P 500 without being directly invested in the market. In plain English, when the market goes up, you make money. When it crashes, you don't lose any money. You're protected by 0% floor. So let me ask you, would you rather ride the market roller coaster or grow your money on a track that never dips below zero? Number two, how indexing works. Let's talk about the growth engine inside an IUL, index crediting. This is what allows your money to grow without ever putting at risk in the market. And here's how it works. Your cash value is linked to a market index like the S&P 500, but it's never actually invested in the market. Instead, your policy uses a cap and a floor. Think of them as your growth ceiling and loss protection. For example, let's say your IUL has a 10% cap and a 0% floor. So if the S&P goes up 8%, you're credited 8%. If it goes up 20%, you're capped at 10%. But if it crashes 30%, you don't lose a penny. You earn 0%, not negative 30. That 0% floor is your built-in shock absorber. It locks in past gains and shields your cash value from losses year after year. And over time, that matters. Because the secret to long-term growth isn't hitting home runs. It's avoiding strikeout. Instead of riding the market roller coaster, an IUL gives you a smoother track. No crashes, no sleepless nights, just steady tax-advantage compounding that works with the market, not against. Number 3, tax-free growth and income. Now, this is where things go from good to almost unfair. There's a section of the tax code most people, even financial advisors, never mention. It's called IRS Code 7702. Buried deep in this tax law, 7702 outlines how certain life insurance policy, when structured properly, can grow cash value completely tax deferred. That means your money compounds year over year without being drained by capital gain taxes, dividend taxes, or just some other surprise IRS bills. It's one of the few places in the entire tax code where the IRS gives you a green light to grow wealth and keep every penny. Wall Street won't talk about it. CPAs rarely bring it up, but wealthy families have been using this exact provision for decades, quietly building tax-free empires behind the scenes. And unlike 401ks, there are no RMDs, no income restrictions, and no penalties if you touch your money before 59.5. It's legal, it's predictable, and when you see how it pairs with the next piece, it might become your favorite tax optimization strategy. Number 4, policy loans. Here's when an IUL becomes more than just a retirement vehicle. It becomes your private bank. Let's say your policy has $100,000 of cash value, and you take out $20,000 to buy a car. But that loan doesn't come from your account. It comes from the insurance company. So your $100,000 stays fully intact, and it keeps compounding. So if your policy earns 10% that year, and your loan only costs 5%, you just gained 5% on the money you didn't even touch. And that's the power of leverage with protection. No taxes, no penalties, no liquidation. This is how savvy professionals use their IULs for big opportunities. Real estate, business capital, even emergency liquidity, all while keeping their money growing behind the scenes. It's the closest thing to having a tax-free, self-funding credit line that pays you to use it. Number 5, IUL versus the S&P 500, 25-year showdown. Let's see how an IUL compares to the S&P 500 index, using the real data from 1998 to 2023. Over those 25 years, the market went up, but also crashed, sometimes really hard. The dot-com crash, the 2008 meltdown, they both erased trillions from retirement accounts. But IUL plays a different game. Instead of riding the red line of market risk, you track the green line with a 0% floor and a 10% cap. In up years, you capture gains up to the cap, and in down years, you don't lose a cent. The worst you'll see is 0%, and your gains lock in permanently. Over that full 25-year stretch, this approach, no losses, up to 10% upside, ended up neck and neck with the S&P 500 index, but without all the market drama. No guessing, no panic, just smooth tax advantage compounding that doesn't crash with the market. And that consistency, that's what separates retirement stress from retirement confidence. If you're wondering how this strategy fits your income, age, or retirement goals, we built a tool just for you. It's called the IUL Custom GPT, a free AI-powered assistant trained specifically to answer your questions about IULs in plain English 24/7. Think of it like your personalized strategist, built on ChatGPT, but trained specifically for high-income professionals exploring tax-free retirement. You can try it now or anytime after this video, and the link is right below in the description. Number 6, case study, IUL versus 401k. Let's look at how this plays out in real retirement with real numbers. Picture 2 professionals, both age 65. One followed the traditional path and saved $1 million in a 401k, which is quite a feat. The other used the properly structured IUL and has $900,000 in cash value, about $100,000 less than the 401k. But watch what happens next. The 401k investor wants $80,000 a year in retirement income. To get that, he has to withdraw $105,000 just to net $80,000 after paying more than $25,000 in taxes. And by age 79, his account is empty. Meanwhile, the IUL policy holder takes the same $80,000 a year, tax-free, through policy loans at 5% interest. No required withdrawals, no penalties, and no IRS cut. While he's collecting income, his cash value keeps compounding. And by age 100, if he makes it that long, he's received $2.8 million tax-free and still has over $1.37 million left for his heirs. Same retirement goal, same income need, $100,000 less to start, yet millions ahead in the end. That's the power of building tax-free income, and why more professionals are quietly shifting away from 401k only strategies. It's not magic, it's math. So here's a bonus I promised you at the beginning of the video. So everything you've seen in this video only works if your IUL is structured properly. And here's the uncomfortable truth. More than 95% of the policies are not. Why? Because most of the age is designed for commissions, not results. That means oversized death benefit, bloated fees, and minimal cash value growth. You don't get a tax-free income strategy. You get a life insurance contract with almost nothing to show for it. But when designed correctly, everything flips. The death benefit is minimized, the funding is maximized, and every dollar is directed toward tax-free growth, not insurance cost. That single shift can add 6 figures or more to your retirement income without increasing your contribution by a single cent. Let me show you an example. Same 45-year-old male client, same age, same $3,000 a month premium. On one side, you have a poorly structured policy, ends with just $870,000 at age 65, and only 55% of that money is working for you. On the other side, you have the optimized design. That grows to $1.27 million, with 83% of your dollars compounding tax-free. And get this, the poorly structured policy looks impressive on paper with a $3 million death benefit, but it quietly cannibalizes your growth through hidden internal cost of insurance. The properly designed version, it has a much smaller death benefit, just $962,000, but significantly more cash value, flexibility, and long-term control. That's the difference between owning a life insurance policy and building a tax-free retirement engine. So if you're serious about using this strategy, structure is everything. You need someone who understands IRS Code 7702, MEC limits, and performance modeling, not someone selling your product off the shelf. Let's quickly recap what you now understand about IUL and why it remains one of the most powerful yet overlooked tools for building long-term tax-efficient wealth. You'll learn how IULs use index crediting to capture market upside while protecting against downside losses. You saw how IRS Code 7702 enables tax-deferred growth, tax-free access, and tax-free wealth transfer when structured properly. You discover why IUL have no RMDs, no age limits, and no contribution caps, giving you total flexibility and control. You explore how policy loans let you access capital without taxes or penalties, while your money keeps compounding. You compare 25 years of historical data and saw how IULs often rival or outperform traditional investments by avoiding market crashes altogether. You walk through a real retirement case study where IUL generated more income, fewer taxes, and a bigger legacy than a 401k. And finally, you uncover the number one reason most IULs underperform: poor design, and how proper structuring can change everything. It's not a loophole, it's a blueprint. And now you have it. So if you're a high-income professional and you're serious about building tax-free income, protecting your assets, and escaping the traditional retirement trap, this is your next step. You can book a free tax-free wealth strategy session with our team. It's a personalized call where we look at all your income, your goals, your current tax exposure to show you what's possible. Just a heads up, because these are 101, we only take a limited number of new strategy calls each month, and spots fill quick. So if this strategy makes sense to you, don't wait, lock in your session and see how it could work in your situation. Still in the research mode? That's totally fine. Check out the next video, where we walk through how this strategy performs for doctors, tech executives, and small business owners in real-world scenarios. And just remember, taxes are likely rising, markets are unpredictable, and time is your greatest advantage. The earlier you act, the more leverage you create. So if you've done everything right, but still feel exposed, this is the strategy most people wish they had discovered sooner. Because at the end of the day, not what you earn, it's what you keep. Enjoy the ride.